What's happening? What's happening out there? It's your man Cam. I just wanted to jump on here, man, and talk to y'all out there. We in some crazy times, and I know you get tired of me saying these things and probably tired of hearing me talk about it, but it has to be spoken about for things to change. You get what I'm saying? It starts with words, and words create actions. And so Trump, this so-called president of the United States, has went and revoked Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and ex-President Biden's security clearances because he feels like it's a threat to security if they have access to certain files and I guess certain locations and things like that, in which they were all once in the White House for whatever reason, and they deserve their security clearances just as much as any other president or vice president or second or what they call the first lady who has security clearance. Now, I can't say 100%, but I'm pretty sure when this idiot of a president that's in the White House lost, because he did lose the last time to Joe Biden, did he lose his security clearances? In which, like I say, I can't say for a fact if he did or didn't, but if he didn't, he most definitely, out of anybody that's ever been called president of this country, should have lost his security clearances. This was the guy that caused the uprising. This is the guy that sits and lies about everything that goes against what he thinks should be the way. He lost, and he said it was rigged, in which this country has not ever had a rigged election. This isn't Russia to where things are rigged, but because he is so mentally connected to the things in Russia and how Russia is ran, he thinks that Russia is the United States. And speaking of Russia, he had a phone conversation with the leader of Russia, in which I'm pretty sure the conversation was dominated by Trump because he talks so much. But in the long run, Putin truly didn't agree to anything. And before the phone conversation was supposed to even happen, Putin was in a meeting with other leaders or whatever have you over his country, and the guy stopped and asked Putin or made a statement about this phone call he was supposed to be having with Trump. And Putin basically said that he can wait, putting him on the back burner, basically saying that Trump is no more important than anybody else, even if he is the president of the United States, in which I've said it before, Russia, as far as Putin and his regime, has no respect for the United States, and most definitely have no respect for the president of this country. But because he is so blinded and egotistical, he doesn't realize that this guy's playing him like a fiddle to get what he wants. And in turn, Trump thinks that, well, if Putin gets what he wants, then he'll be able to get what he wants out of the deal, because he could care less about a ceasefire. Let's be honest. The president of this country and the people he have around him at least by their actions, could truly care less, once again, about a ceasefire in Ukraine. The only reasoning behind him using that as a ploy in order to get the rare earth that Ukraine has in order to build up the weaponry and the technology here in the United States. It's just about getting what he wants out of the deal. If Ukraine was to completely explode and disappear off the face of the earth, the president of the United States would not shed a tear. Of course, with him being the so-called leader of this country, he has to put out a statement showing that he cares, in which we know he really doesn't, because anyone can put out a statement, but you don't know the true feelings behind something that is typed up for the most part. You hear it when someone speaks, as far as if they're passionate about something, or as far as they truly mean what they say. But the ignorance of many people do not listen to the tones that this guy speaks in, to where you can tell when he truly is passionate about something, and we can care less about something else. And one thing he can care less about is the war that's going on in Ukraine, unless it benefits him in the long run. You have Putin saying, well, he wants the United States and these other countries to completely abandon Ukraine, basically is what he's after, saying that he'll agree to these other things, but knowing if these countries were to abandon Ukraine, then that would leave them extremely vulnerable to the point where Ukraine would be overtaken by Russia. Russia doesn't want to end this war, y'all. They don't. It's obvious. As soon as the phone call ended with these two guys, Russia later on that night attacked Ukraine, killing 300 or 400 people, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, it's just crazy knowing that we have such a dictator in office right now, y'all. It truly is. And he's building up his community of followers to go to war with anybody that is against what he is for. I'm telling you, he's slowly building them up. The way that he speaks riles them up to the point where they are ready to go to war for this guy. For whatever reason, he got him so damn darn brainwashed that they're willing to kill and steal for this guy, as if he's truly doing something for their ignorant butts. But people are so lost out here that they're just looking for someone to cling to, someone to lead them. And sadly, they have chosen someone that's going to lead them into destruction, and opposed to into something that's going to benefit them. They're headed down a destructive path. He uses destructive talk. Do this or else. You get what I'm saying? Nothing that he says is positive. But he puts a positive spin on all of the negative that he represents. You know, I'm kind of anticipating the future, y'all. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what is truly going to unfold in these next 2 to 3 years if this guy continues to be the president of this country. I am really anticipating the outcome to see really what's going to happen. Because deep down, I already know that the economy is going to be flipped, and we all are going to be put in positions that we thought that we would not ever be in. That is going to happen. Like I said before, the stock market is completely plummeting behind this guy, meaning that the economy is not too far behind. And so I know that's going to happen, but as far as the relationships that we have built with these other countries, are we going to be able to keep those relationships? As far as whether or not this guy is going to truly try and become the first leader of this country to be in office longer than 8 years, because that is his scheme in the long run. And because you once again have this white man's world mentality in this country, and all he's doing is just pushing that agenda, him and his minions and his co-president, Mr. Tesla. And I spoke about how he was playing this a man's world when he was coming out and he was going against Mrs. Harris for the presidency. But if you don't know the song, then you wouldn't realize that he also says that it would be nothing without the woman, in which his wife is just a trophy wife. The things that he was commenting her on as far as what she's done sounded like trash. You know, it sounded like some of that, and I hate to be this way, but some of that Miss America nonsense, to where they really ain't helping nobody, but this is the community service that I've performed type scenario. And that's what she appears like. She ain't really doing nothing. You ain't hear nothing about her the first 4 years he was in office, and more than likely you ain't gonna hear nothing about her these next 4 years that he's in office. And I'm not trying to badmouth the lady, but at the same time, what has she done? To where out of all the presidents, most definitely I feel like Obama's wife did the most and tried to help the most, even though, like I said, I don't agree with hardly any of these presidents, because they all are in the same committee, so to speak, or out to do the same things, so to speak, and they put things into action that I don't agree with, and they took some things out that I don't agree with. So we're not going to agree with any and everything that a president does. But at the same time, I truly, right now at least, don't agree with anything that this current president is doing. I don't agree with none of the stuff he's doing. Firing veterans, cutting this, cutting that. Think about it. Social Security, and just not Social Security, just the government in general. Anybody that's ever been on food stamps or had to contact the government for something knows that even when they had help, when you called, it would be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, or you might not get through at all. But now, with him cutting all of these different jobs out, especially, like I said, Social Security, it's going to be terrible for people, y'all. But he don't care, because he don't have to worry about Social Security. We're talking about a person that is a billionaire. He could care less about Social Security. And that's my whole thing about these guys. He has millionaires and billionaires that surround him, these Republican leaders, as far as the governors or whatever have you of these different states. Majority of them are at least millionaires. Governor whatever that guy's name here in Georgia. That guy is a millionaire, y'all. We know that, point blank, period. To the point where they don't depend on Social Security. So they feel like something that they don't have to depend on, that majority of the country doesn't need, because they don't need it. But they got it all wrong. Everybody's not in the same boat that they are. They have to understand you have a 1% or a 2% or a 5%. And majority of the people are in that 90+% of having to work hard every day and live paycheck to paycheck is what majority of the people are in. And majority of the people are depending on, when they retire, Social Security or whatever other benefits that they can get in retirement. Majority of the people in this country is going to have to depend on that program. But yet you want to cut it out because you have a person in the Tesla guy who has billions of dollars. He don't care about Social Security. He could go and buy and pay for many people's Social Security if he wanted to. So why should he care about it? Y'all, I tell you, when this damn it, and I'm sorry to be using the words, but it makes me upset. This administration is piss poor. It is one of the worst darn administrations that I have ever seen. People talk bad about the Bushes, but the Bushes were saints compared to this guy that they have in office. And it pisses me off when I hear people out here backing him up, agreeing to the bullshit that he's putting out there. This dude truly needs to be cut off, and he needs to be deported to another damn country. They need to send his ass to El Salvador somewhere and let him see how it feels to struggle and have nothing. Because he's not ever felt that pain before. You know, I was thinking, and it's slightly off the subject, and I say this because of people like myself having to come up through the freaking struggle in this country. I already spoke about the education system from I don't know when they started M2M, but it was another form of integration. It was just called minority to majority. So we went through a form of integration as far as my age group and many others. But as far as the struggle, man, they don't know what the struggle is. They don't know what it is to you eat one plate. Ain't no going back for seconds. You understand what I'm saying? You may get 1 or 2 pieces of chicken and you may get some corn on the side if you lucky. And ain't no going back for seconds. You get full off of that and you be happy. You understand what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, my mother did everything in her ability to take care of me and my older brother. So I'm not saying that we just went completely without. You understand? Because my mama bought school clothes for us when we were going to school, and she bought food to put on the table. But it wasn't that we had a lot. She may buy a bag of plums, and in that bag of plums, let's say it's 8 plums, and it's 3 of us, so let's say 9 plums. And each one of us get 3 plums. Once your 3 plums have been eaten, you will not have any more plums until mama is able to go back to the grocery store, and that may be in a month. That may be in 3 weeks. It ain't no week to week going to the grocery store when we was growing up. And I'm not saying this because I want people to have to live that way, because some people had it even harder than that. But a lot of people ain't ever had to put water in their cereal bowl because it ain't no milk. A lot of people didn't have to eat ketchup sandwiches or eat a piece of cheese or eat saltine crackers. And you was lucky if you had peanut butter to put on the saltine crackers. You see what I'm saying? That's what we had to go through. And don't get me wrong, once again, when we got of age, we could have worked and fed ourselves. So none of this is being blamed on my mother, because once again, she did all she could do to keep us going. And when I got school clothes, I give 5 pairs of clothes, a set of clothes for each day of the school week. And I had to keep them same 5 sets of clothes until Christmas came around. I kept the same pair of shoes from the beginning of the school year until Christmas came around. And then you may get a couple more outfits and another pair of shoes. And those had to last you through the end of the school year. So a lot of these people don't truly value the fact that they got it so good out here. Even my children, I work hard. My children got snacks. I'm talking about it ain't ever a time where they can't go to the cupboard and it ain't no chips or something in there for them to eat. They always getting dessert after dinner. They got clothes, and if something you go get some more. But that's what we want, don't get me wrong, for our children. So that's why we work hard. But at the same time, when you put somebody in a position of not ever having to go through that struggle in life, and when you have many of the people in this country struggling day to day, and yet you want to go and take things away from us that we need. This stuff is a necessity for us. This is not something that we just want in order to mooch off the government. These people, including myself, have worked hard and earned the right to receive whatever benefits that comes our way. At this point, if I was to get hurt and not ever be able to work again, I have qualified for disability. I have earned and worked all the hours I need to work in order to qualify for Social Security. But yet you want to take that from us? I'm not just sitting at home or sitting on the corner somewhere and then you can go and get Social Security. That's not how that stuff works. You just don't qualify for a lot of this stuff unless you worked enough years and enough hours in order to qualify for it. And these idiots want to take it from us, y'all. It's sad, man. It's truly sad, but y'all take it easy out there, man. It's your man Cam, and I'll talk to y'all soon.